In the 3rd century, China entered one of the most turbulent and transformative periods in its history. A conflict so vast that its population losses rivaled those of modern global wars. A struggle for power, survival, and destiny that reshaped an entire civilization. This is the story of the War of the Three Kingdoms. A conflict that revealed brilliant strategists, legendary leaders, and large-scale campaigns that would echo for centuries. If you enjoy epic history, grand strategy, and untold world-changing events, make sure to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful historical stories. Now, let's step into one of the most devastating conflicts you've probably never studied in school. In the twilight years of the Eastern Han Dynasty, China was a land in turmoil. The imperial court, once a beacon of power, was now a cesspool of corruption. Eunuchs wielded immense influence. Emperors were mere puppets, and the people suffered under crushing taxes and natural disasters. This widespread despair ignited the flames of the Yellow Turban Rebellion. Though eventually crushed, the rebellion shattered the Han's authority, creating a power vacuum that ambitious warlords rushed to fill. Figures like the tyrannical Dong Zhuan, the ambitious Yuan, Shao, carved out their own territories, plunging the empire into a chaotic free-for-all. At the end of the Han Dynasty, the empire was crumbling from within. Corruption weakened the court. Internal rivalries paralyzed decision-making. Peasant uprisings spread across the land, most notably the Yellow Turban Rebellion. Regional generals were granted authority to restore order, but this decision created something far more dangerous: powerful warlords with independent armies. Among them rose Cao Cao, a political genius and military reformer. At the same time, leaders like Liu Bei and Quan began building their own spheres of influence. The unified empire was on the verge of fragmentation. One of the most pivotal moments of this era was the legendary Battle of Red Cliffs. The northern warlord Cao Cao, with a massive army, seemed unstoppable. But the allied forces of Quan and Liu Bei stood against him. Their secret weapon was the genius strategist Zhuge Liang. In one famous episode, Zhuge Liang exploited a dense fog to send boats covered in straw towards Cao Cao's camp. Thinking it was a surprise attack, Cao Cao's archers unleashed a volley of arrows, which stuck in the straw. The boats returned, laden with over 100,000 arrows, resupplying the allied army at the enemy's expense. This clever ruse was just a prelude to the main event, a devastating fire attack, orchestrated with another strategist, Zhou Yu, which decimated Cao Cao's fleet and halted his southern advance. At the heart of the Battle of Red Cliffs wasn't just a clash of armies, but a fierce rivalry between two brilliant minds, Zhou Yu and Zhuge Liang. Zhou Yu, the handsome and gifted commander of Wu, saw Zhuge Liang not just as an ally, but as a future threat. Their alliance was a delicate dance of cooperation and suspicion. Legend says Zhou Yu repeatedly tried to outwit and even eliminate Zhuge Liang, only to be foiled by the strategist's seemingly supernatural foresight. From borrowing the east wind to acquiring 100,000 arrows with straw-covered boats, their intellectual duel became as legendary as the battle itself. It was a partnership born of necessity, fraught with personal ambition, a microcosm of the fragile alliances that defined the entire era. In 208 AD, one of the most decisive engagements in Asian history took place, the Battle of Red Cliffs. Cao Cao advanced south with an enormous force, seeking total control of China. But he faced an unlikely alliance between Liu Bei and Quan, outnumbered but not outmatched. The brilliant strategist Zhuge Liang played a critical role. Through environmental awareness, coordinated planning, and tactical deception, the Southern Coalition turned the tide. Numerically inferior force defeated a vastly larger army. This battle ensured that China would not be unified under one banner, at least not yet. From the ashes of this conflict, three powerful states emerged. The Kingdom of Wei, established by the brilliant but ruthless Cao Cao, controlled the populous northern heartland and was the strongest military and economic power. In the southwest, the benevolent Liu Bei founded the Kingdom of Shu, championing the restoration of the Han Dynasty and gathering heroes like the mighty Guan Yu and Zheng Fei. And in the southeast, the resourceful son, Quan, established the Kingdom of Wu, a maritime power defended by the natural barrier of the Yangtze River. Each ruler had a distinct vision for China's future, setting the stage for decades of tripartite conflict. This wasn't just a clash of armies. but a battle of wits between master strategists. While Zhuge Liang is the most famous, Wei had the cunning and patient Sima Yi, who would ultimately play the long game. Hu's victories were often engineered by the brilliant commander Zhou Yu, a man whose talents were a match for any of his contemporaries. The eventual division into three kingdoms was not random. It was dictated by geography. Cao Cao's Wei held the vast, fertile northern plains, the traditional heartland of China, giving him immense resources and manpower. But this open terrain was also difficult to defend. In the southwest, Liu Bei's Shu was protected by treacherous mountains and impassable gorges. Natural fortress, its very defensibility, however, made expansion a huge challenge. Sun Quan's Wu, in the southeast, was a kingdom built on water. The mighty Yangtze River was its highway, and its shield, its navy, unmatched. Yet, this reliance on rivers limited its reach into the northern heartland. Each kingdom's destiny was carved by its landscape. Following years of campaigns and political maneuvering, China officially divided into three rival states: Wei, controlled by Cao Cao's successors, established by Liu Bei, and Wu, led by Sun Quan. The Han Dynasty was gone. A tripler balance of power defined the era. Each kingdom sought legitimacy, expansion, and ultimate supremacy. Diplomacy, intelligence, and military innovation became critical survival tools. The War of the Three Kingdoms was not simply about numbers. It was a contest of minds. Zhuge Liang became legendary for his logistical brilliance and strategic foresight. The constant warfare took a devastating toll on the land and its people. Decades of conflict led to catastrophic population decline. Cities were sacked, farmland was abandoned, and vital infrastructure like irrigation canals fell into disrepair. The economy, once reliant on agriculture and the Silk Road, collapsed. Famine and disease became rampant, and the suffering of the common folk was immense. Cao Cao demonstrated exceptional administrative reform and military organization. Generals adapted to terrain, supply limitations, morale challenges, and shifting alliances. Strategy in this era was elevated to an art form, perhaps best exemplified by Zhuge Liang's legendary empty fort strategy. Faced with an overwhelming army led by his rival, Sima Yi, and with only a handful of soldiers, Zhuge Liang did the unthinkable. He ordered the city gates thrown open, with only a few old men sweeping the entrance. He himself sat calmly atop the gate tower, playing his zither. Sima Yi, knowing Zhuge Liang's reputation for caution, suspected a massive ambush. He hesitated and then retreated. It was a masterful bluff, a psychological victory that required immense courage and an intimate understanding of his opponent's mind. The era produced tactical concepts still studied today in leadership and strategy discussions. Historical records suggest that China's population declined dramatically during this period of prolonged instability. Entire regions were depopulated. Agricultural systems collapsed in contested territories. Urban centers shrank. The scale of human displacement and hardship was enormous. Some demographic estimates compare the magnitude of this decline to the greatest global conflicts of the modern era. This long period of division finally began to end, not through conquest, but through internal betrayal. In the Kingdom of Wei, the Sima family, led by Sima Yi and his sons, gradually accumulated power, eventually staging a coup and overthrowing the Cao family to establish their own Jin dynasty. From this new position of power, they launched their final campaigns. The mountainous kingdom of Shu was the first to fall, followed by the river-defended Wu. After nearly a century of bloodshed, China was one of the most disruptive periods in Chinese history. Decades later, power shifted once again. The Wei state fell under the control of the Sima family. The constant warfare also spurred incredible technological innovation. The repeating crossbow, or Zhuge, could fire multiple bolts before reloading, giving infantry a devastating rate of fire. For sieges, engineers developed towering siege ladders and powerful traction trebuchets, capable of hurling massive stones to smash fortress walls. These advancements didn't just give one side a temporary edge. They fundamentally changed the scale and lethality of every battle. Sima Yan declared the Jin dynasty. In 280 AD, Wu was defeated. China was unified once more. But the cost of unity had been extraordinary. Centuries later, the era was immortalized in the classic novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms, one of the four great classical novels of Chinese literature. The story continues to inspire films, television dramas, and video games such as Dynasty Warriors. The War of the Three Kingdoms became more than history. It became legend. A story of ambition, strategy, loyalty, and transformation. The War of the Three Kingdoms was not just a struggle for power. It reshaped a civilization, it revealed some of history's most brilliant strategic minds, and it left a legacy that still influences culture today. The legacy of the Three Kingdoms is not confined to history books. It's a living part of modern culture. In Asia, business leaders study Cao Cao's management style and Zhuge Liang's strategic planning. Video games like Dynasty Warriors let millions of players relive the epic battles. Countless films and TV series continue to retell these stories for new generations. When someone in a meeting refers to a straw boat borrowing arrows strategy, they're using a 2,000-year-old story to describe a clever plan to get what you need from a competitor. The heroes, villains, and strategists of this chaotic time continue to teach us about leadership, loyalty, and ambition. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into history. If you enjoyed this epic historical journey, don't forget to like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories from world history. See you in the next episode.